Hey guys, Amanda here, today with 4 tips to share with you to get started backcountry cooking. So while many of us are used to eating ready-to-go freeze-dried meals in backcountry, cooking your own meals can be a really enjoyable and often tastier alternative. So here are a few tips for getting started. So first and foremost, meal planning is key and must be done in advance. When you're meal planning, keep in mind that it's okay to use perishable foods to some degree, but choose them wisely depending on the temperature, time of year, and length of your trip. Tip number 2 is to choose backcountry staples to kind of get started and initiate your meal planning. So staples being base ingredients like rice, pasta, couscous, orzo. Those are all great base ingredients that you can start with and then enhance with dried proteins, vegetables, and spices to taste. Just be sure not to overpack staple ingredients, as it's really easy to do. It's easy to pack and think you're going to eat more rice when it's dry as opposed to when it's cooked, then you actually will, and a great way to make for a super heavy pack load, which nobody really enjoys. Finally, a great tip for getting started backcountry cooking is to actually test your recipes out in advance. So go ahead and make them at home before you attempt to make them in the backcountry. This is a great way to experiment with exactly, portion sizes ideal for you and or you in a group, as well as playing around with different spices or nutritional yeast and things that can enhance the flavor of your meal in order to make for a delicious backcountry meal you're sure to remember and will want to repeat in the future. Tip number 4, don't forget cooking oil. Whatever kind of cooking oil you choose is great, but you just definitely don't want to leave it behind because camp cookware is rarely non-stick, and cooking without some kind of oil can make for quite a mess and potentially damaging your camp cookware. So quickly to recap, 4 tips I have for getting started backcountry cooking is to first and foremost do advanced meal planning, and don't be afraid to use perishable foods to some degree. Just choose them wisely depending on the temperature and the conditions as well as the length of your trip. Tip number 2, choose backcountry staples to get started with your meal planning, such as rice, pasta, couscous, etc., and then enhance those base ingredients with things like dried proteins, dried veggies, and spices. Just be sure not to overpack your staple ingredients, as it's really easy to do so with those dry staples, and an easy way to make for a super heavy, not fun pack load. Tip number 3, test out your recipe in advance and try it out at home in order to experiment with kind of getting the right portion size for you and your group, as well as really getting your meal up to your taste in terms of flavor, and also ensuring that you don't overspice or oversalt anything, so that you're sure you'll want to repeat and make the recipe again. And finally, don't forget that cooking oil. It's easy to leave behind, but extremely crucial in the backcountry. Any kind of cooking oil you want to use is fine. It comes down to personal preference, but camp cookware is rarely non-stick, so foregoing that oil can make for quite a mess when cooking in the backcountry and potentially damaging your camp cookware. So those are the tips I have for you to get started backcountry cooking. I'd love to hear any additional tips you might have, or if one of these in particular really improved your next backcountry outing. Provide any feedback, comments, or suggestions that you have, as always, in the feed section below. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like connecting with other outdoor enthusiasts, you should definitely consider checking out Summit. Summit is a social network that brings together adventure junkies from all around the world to exchange stories, share advice, and inspire each other. You might even make some new friends too. It's kind of like Facebook for outdoorsy people, but with better privacy, no ads, no spam, and tons of extras. You can join Summit by going to summit.theadventurejunkies.com or by clicking the link in the description below. You can find me in Summit too, so be sure to say hi when you join.